The wind howled through the pines that night. It was the kind of cold that crept into your bones and whispered that winter had no mercy left to give. Down an old dirt road where no carriage had passed in years, an old man walked with a flickering lantern in his hand. His name was Elias Crowe, once a farmer, now a wanderer. The war had taken his sons, time had taken his wife, and pride had taken his home. Now only the lantern remained, a gift from his wife, Clara, the night before she died. Every evening, Elias would light it and walk down the long, empty road leading to the village. No one really knew why he did it. Some said he was searching for forgiveness. Others said he was lighting the way for lost souls. But Elias never spoke of it. He just walked, one step at a time, whispering into the night. Light shows the way, even when the eyes are blind. That night, something changed. At the end of the lonely road, a shadow waited, one that didn't belong to him. At dawn, the fog still lay thick like an old blanket over the valley. Elias heard a faint cough near the frozen river. He followed the sound and found a stranger, shivering, wet, half-conscious. "Morning," Elias said. The man lifted his head. "You're Elias Crowe, the lantern keeper." Elias frowned. "Ain't heard that name in years." "I've walked 3 nights," said the man weakly, "looking for your light." Elias hesitated, then helped him up. "Come, no man freezes on my road." The lantern's glow followed them back to Elias's cabin, a soft golden thread of hope cutting through the cold.
That night, by the fire, the stranger spoke. His name was Thomas Reed, once a merchant who'd lost everything, his business, his family, and his faith in men. "I cheated people," Thomas said, staring into the flames. "I lied. I took more than I gave. And when my own son turned away, I realized I'd become the man I used to despise." Elias listened silently, sipping his tea. Finally he said, "Redemption's a long road, Thomas, but sometimes it starts with one honest word."
Elias showed Thomas how he lit his lantern each night. "It ain't just light," Elias said. "It's a promise that no matter how dark the world gets, a man can still choose to shine." Thomas watched the flame flicker in the glass. "You ever stop walking, Elias?" "No," Elias smiled faintly. "Stopping's when the darkness wins."
When the 2 men walked into town, the villagers stared. The old lantern keeper had never brought anyone before. Some whispered he'd gone mad. Others said he'd found a ghost. But Elias ignored them. He bought bread for Thomas, smiled at the children, and kept the lantern burning bright.
Behind the cabin, there was a small patch of soil, frozen, lifeless. Elias told Thomas, "Clara planted roses here. Every year, even when they froze, she said they'd bloom again." Thomas knelt down, brushed the snow, and said quietly, "Maybe they still can."
That evening, a storm rolled in. Thunder shook the hills. The lantern nearly went out. Elias held it close. "You see, Thomas, life's like this light, fragile. But if you guard it with care, it keeps you warm." Thomas watched him and thought, maybe that's what I lost. Care.
Days later, Thomas found an old letter tucked inside a book near the fire. It was written by Clara before she died. "If light leaves your eyes, let it live in your heart. Walk, even when it hurts." He folded it and placed it near the lantern. "She knew," Thomas whispered. Elias nodded. "She always did." One morning, Thomas left without a word.
Elias found a small pouch by the lantern, silver coins, and a note. For the road you walk, may your light never fade. Elias smiled. Guess the road found another keeper. Weeks passed. On a snowy night, Elias saw a young boy by the woods, crying, alone. "My paw's gone," the boy sobbed. Elias knelt. "Then walk with me, son. We'll find your way together." That night, the boy held the lantern for the first time. Elias taught the boy simple truths. Keep your word. Give more than you take. And when the night feels endless, light something small. The boy listened, and slowly he began to smile again. Winter turned cruel. Elias's cough grew heavy, and one night he could barely stand. The boy said, "Rest, sir. I'll light the lantern tonight." Elias smiled weakly. "Then the light's in good hands." The next morning, the villagers found the boy walking alone with the lantern. Elias was gone, peacefully, as if asleep. But the flame still burned bright. The boy whispered, "He said never to let it die." Years passed. The boy grew into a man, a teacher, then a father. Every evening he lit a lantern at his door, no matter where he lived. When people asked why, he'd simply say, "Because someone once lit the way for me." And so the light of Elias Crowe never truly faded. It passed from hand to hand, heart to heart, through storms, wars, and generations. In a world that forgets kindness too easily, his lesson remains. No man can light the whole world, but every man can keep one lantern burning. And somewhere, down a quiet old road, the wind still whispers through the pines, reminding all who listen that light lives on when love refuses to die.